Hi everyone, it's Burgess. Today I want to try and paint a large wave coming in towards the viewer, and I've drawn a little a line right along there. You can't really see it, but it's there. And then what I want to do is just do a quick drawing of where I want the wave to be, and it's sort of coming along this way, and it would sort of like that, and we go in, and it sort of goes above the sort of water here, like that. Maybe a bit more along here. And I'm using a reference photo really from a really old book, really. So I don't know how old the book is. And I'm not really copying it exactly, but it's sort of a gives me an idea of where things are meant to be. Um, so yeah, I sort of like that. And what I'm going to do is just rub out, and it sort of goes along up here, sort of like that. That's where the top of the wave would be, along here like that. And sort of just sort of like that. Now what I want to do is, so it's not going to be a really elaborate sky. I'm just going to put some blue in. So what I'm going to do is just wet down the sky area. Just wet it down. In fact, I'm going to wet some of this wave area as well, because I want it sort of wet and wet. We're just going to make up ultramarine blue. Nothing sort of dramatic or anything like that. In fact, we can bring it down to the top here as well. There. And that's all we're going to do with it. But now I'm going to work on the water, and what I'm going to do is put down a sort of a wash of Viridian first, and but I'm going to keep that white, and I want to try and keep some of the areas white as well. The brush strokes in all sorts of directions, so you can see a wave sort of forming. To keep some areas white because I want foam. Now I'm just going to layer on whilst it's sort of still wet. I'm going to put a it's sort of wet on wet in some places. I'm going to add darker colors here later. So what I'm going to do is I've got Prussian blue here, which is perfect for this kind of thing. I'm not aiming for exact colors here of the sea. We just want to give it the impression that there are sort of waves sort of coming in. We can put that there as well, along here. But what I'm going to do is just darken it here, along this way. I want to change the brush to a smaller one. I'm just trying to sort of leave foam in places. Whilst that's wet, I want to add black to it, just to really sort of darken it. You want to keep sort of the paper wet to some extent, so you go back in if it's drying, wet it again, and you can go back and just sort of add what look like little waves. You can go back in, you can go with black as well. Just add black where you feel you need to add black. Don't be nervous of it. Black is a very good color with Prussian blue, and it can actually add quite a bit of depth to a Prussian blue painting. Little tiny sort of strokes represent sort of little waves and ripples in the water. Bits in between the foams. Go back in with black as well, more black. I want to add more black on the side there with more Prussian blue, a very dark Prussian blue along here. Try to make upward strokes towards the wave. Now it doesn't look like a wave yet because we haven't actually added the foam on top, which is up here. finishing it off along here, and then we're going to work on that final wave there. I want to darken this a bit more because it needs to be really dark in order for the wave to have any effect. So let's just put more dark in. Under here. So now I want to do is I want to actually put some shadows on the waves. First we're going to wet this area. Because it's sort of wet into wet, isn't it? So we're just going to wet it. We can remove some of that. That in like that. Just so stipple it on with the tip of the brush. What I want to do is, because it's sort of faded up here, what I want to do is wet the sky again and just darken with a bit more blue so it become intense, and I can still fill in a bit more details, just a bit more here. And we can sort of lift a bit of the color out from the wave area. Still add a bit more here. One more layer, I think, of black right underneath some of these waves. I like that. And one more. This side here, just to give them a big shadow. You know, the other thing is, in the picture, there's a little something, and I'm going to stick it in there because it might be fun to put it in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the rigger, I think it's the end of a sail or something, or maybe use a black pen. Hang on. let's put a black pen in there. So I'm just going to put it in, and again, it's sort of it's coming right out like that, and sort of like that. But it's got lots of, it's the top of a sail, obviously. It's sort of going right in the water like that. And I'm going to use and that's what it was. It's just weird, I know. There's our wave coming in with a bit of a ship at the top. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and do leave a comment. And I hope to see you in my next video. Thanks very much for watching. Thank you.